We are sitting with Dr. Akosua Agyemang from the Department of Social Work and the Center for Aging Studies, University of Ghana, and we are live from the Alisa Hotel. This is a special edition of AAU Talks. Don't forget that you can join the conversation via our social media platforms, Association of African Universities on Facebook, AAU_TV on Twitter, and then also our TV website, tv.aau.org. We'll go for a short break, and when I return, the conversation continues. My name is Kwesi Sam. Stay tuned.
Why University of Ilorin?
I chose the University of Ilorin for a number of reasons. One of them is the fact that the university has a very conducive environment. It provides students with a proper academic environment.
I chose the University of Ilorin because of the good culture they try to imbibe in students in the aspect of improving their morals and also in the aspect of improving their dressing in terms of decency.
It feels good knowing that your 4 years is 4 years and your 5 years is 5 years. Unlike a number of schools in Nigeria where your 4 years course might last 5 years, 6 years, or even 7 years in some extreme cases. But University of Ilorin, better by far, your 4 years course is 4 years course. And it feels good knowing that after 4 years, I'll be rounding up my session. That's one of the things I really love about this university.
If you just tuned in, you are just watching the special edition of AAU Talks brought to you by the Association of African Universities, and we are sitting with Dr. Akosua Agyemang from the Department of Social Work, University of Ghana, and the Center for Aging Studies as well. You're welcome to AAU Talks, Doc.
Thank you, Kwesi.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you too?
I'm fine, and I'm so excited to host you today to talk about what you do at the Social Work Department and also with the Center for Aging Studies and how PedaL is relevant. But let's start from PedaL. How is PedaL related to the things that you do as a social worker, first, as a lecturer, second, and even as the work that you do with the center? How is PedaL related and how is it relevant to you?
Thank you very much. PedaL is all about improvements in the methods of teaching. And so as a teacher, you need to have current knowledge about current methods that you use to teach in the classroom. I am a social worker and a lecturer in social work also. So we teach diverse courses. And for me, I've taught several courses in the department, and currently I'm handling social gerontology and then working with older persons and also counseling, approaches to counseling. And so in all these courses, it's a classroom course, an outside classroom course where PedaL could be used. As I said, it's a method of teaching that some of us who are professional teachers already have gone through. But I realize that PedaL is giving us the current, techniques and trends that we can use to teach in the classroom. And so it has been so beneficial. Some of the things that I will not use in class, now I can go back and then do it. And there are some also that I do, and I hope to improve the knowledge that I've acquired from PedaL. So basically, PedaL will enhance my methods of teaching, my relationship with my students in class, and the class setting in general. Yes.
All right. So let's go more specific into what you do at the Center for Aging Studies. I believe you work with older people. And even in that setting, how are you going to apply some of the techniques, the skills, the knowledge that you have acquired here to what you do there?
Thank you very much. The Center for Aging Studies was established about 3 years ago by the University of Ghana. And then we had our director, Professor Matikole, who is the director. And we run so many programs. We are yet to start the academic programs for the Center for Aging Studies. And so the academic programs, we are targeting certificate courses, first degree courses, master's and then PhD. Currently, we are going through accreditation. So I'm hoping that in the near future, all these courses will come on board. But currently what we do is that my role at the center basically is the social aspect of aging.
Okay.
So what we do now is that we have programs for the older persons where we gather older persons for dance program, dance and fitness, and then also we do a lot. We bring them to campus to our center. First, we have what we call International Day for Older Persons. We celebrate with them. So we bring about 400 older persons to campus, and then we do medical screenings for them. We do a whole lot of things. They go through exercises, dance, they do indoor games, and then medical screening as well. Now, we also try to affiliate with non-governmental organizations that are into the care of older persons. Sometimes we look at what they do. Most of them just gather the older persons, and those who take care of them, that are the caregivers, are people that don't have skills
and knowledge.
So they shout at them, they do all kinds of things to them. And Ghana here, where every wrinkled face is branded a witch. We try to disabuse the minds of people, so we go to the churches to give education that if you have an older person in church, they matter as well as the youth and the children, because from childhood, if you don't die, if you don't go too soon, you surely get to
that process.
Yes, so we teach them how to work with them. I have a topic I have tagged understanding the older person and working with the older person. How do you understand this person? So here, if I'm giving education, training in this topic, PedaL comes in here. How do I go about the topic, the steps? So, bringing the people together, we normally bring the older persons together, their caregivers, either from the homes or from the institutions together, and then we train them as to the better ways of, working with them. If you're talking to an older person, you don't even sit across like I'm sitting here with Offer. You sit by and then try to, so these are techniques that PedaL has also introduced, how to listen. You need to have listening skills, communication skills. Especially when, and per our culture, you are not supposed to shout at the elderly person even when he's you're doing something wrong. So the techniques that you have to have in dealing with them is what we normally teach at the center. Currently, we had a program about a month ago. It's a training program that we've serialized it. And so we just finished one where we brought a whole lot of people together, pastors from the Presby Church, Pentecost Church, all across. And then we were training them as to how they must handle older persons in their churches. Charismatic churches, most of them Pentecostal churches, and then Abonsem churches, that is the syncretic churches where they sideline older persons, especially women, because they think that they are witches. So if the person is a witch, how do it takes a witch to know who is a witch. So we try to let them know that the fact that they are behaving weird does not mean they are, which is perhaps they are demented, perhaps they have this. And during menopause and andropause, so many things happen in their body. And so when you see some of these things coming, you don't brand the person a witch, rather go close and try to help. And then we also give, we do welfare packages for them. Sometimes we invite some of them, and then we give them cloth. When you gather them, you realize that some of them really are in need. And today, that the extended family is breaking. For me, I think that it's even broken already. And so you don't get children and family members close to the older persons like we see in the communities where they live. Now it has broken to an extent that nobody wants to take care of the aged. Back in the days where in the community somebody can even cook from his or her house and then bring it to this older person. They were living a community. Now it is not there in most of the communities that we have in Ghana. And our older persons, we have about 72% of them living in the rural areas. What you see in the urban areas are just few. And as we move on, the population of older persons are increasing, and the chunk of it are in the rural communities. So what should we do to help them? And so these are some of the things that we do at the center. We do a lot of research, we do teaching, and then we do the social aspect. And if you come to the center, we have several people there. We have members coming from Kolebu, medical doctors, where now we have a geriatric center that works every Wednesday, so that when we bring the older person, we screen them and we find out they have some
medical issues.
Yes, we send them to the geriatric center for them to be taken care. And then we have people coming from all the departments, psychology. Professor Matekolo is a neuropsychologist, so he handles that. I'm coming from social work department, so the chunk of the work is even on me because of the social aspect. Sometimes another person will come thinking that he's sick, but the person needs to be, talked to, just a conversation, and he'll be fine. I have, there's this article that was written by Vanda East. It said the topic of that article was complaining, but I'm not complaining. Complaining and not complaining. Now, complaining and not complaining, the older person did a study at Koru, and this older person was like, he has a lot of wisdoms, experience. He needs to share, but he is not getting anybody to come close to listening to him. So these are the children, the youth. We are not going close to our parents and our grandparents, because any information we want to get, we get it from online, the internet. So the mobile phones and the social media have become our friends, our everything, and so we neglect the little time that we may spend with our older persons.
So we'll go for a short break, and when we come, we'll look at the growth cycle, because I believe that if we really understand the growth pattern and cycle, when someone is at a certain stage, for example, when we visit our grandparents and they are talking too much, we tend to cut them short and run away. But if we have a very good understanding of what they need, then we'll be able to better take care of them. We'll be back. You are still watching a special edition of AAU Talks, brought to you at the Alisa Hotel. Stay tuned.
In matters of life and death, you would never leave it to chance. You look for someone dependable, caring, and above all, someone who knows exactly what to do. At Wisconsin International University College, Ghana, we train our students to work in the most basic and in the most sophisticated healthcare environments. With the help of our new state-of-the-art simulators, the first of their kind in Africa, students learn how the human body really works and how it responds to various stimuli and treatments.
The nursing school has been in inception since May 2016, so we are in our second year. What sets us apart is the kind of environment in which the students are being trained, especially in terms of skills training. Our skills labs are among the best in the country and in West Africa as a whole.
You got to see a simulated birth here. We can do these births about every 7 to 10 minutes with a setup and things like that. Now, comparable to other simulation centers, obviously there's no other simulation center here in Africa that can offer that. In the States, this is very comparable to the same experience that our students in the States will experience over here.
Don't leave your education to chance. Enroll at Wisconsin now and get world-class training in nursing, community health nursing, and midwifery. Wisconsin International University College, Ghana. Leaders in international education.
Welcome back from the break. We are still sitting with Dr. Akosua Agyemang from the Department of Social Work and Center for Aging Studies, University of Ghana. So, Doc, let's take it a bit further, looking at the growth cycle and pathing. Like we said before we went for the break, if we have a better understanding, then we'll be able to take care of our older people. Can you share with us the growth pattern for everyone to have at least? We can't have a degree in it, but the basic knowledge will help.
Thank you very much, Kwesi. There are developmental stages as we move on. So as a child is born, you are a baby, day one born, and then gradually you grow up to become an infant, and then the middle years you are an adolescent, and then you are in your adulthood, and blah blah blah, you move on. So Ghana, for example, when somebody is 60 years, we say that the person is old, and that is where we retire from active work.
Service,
despite the fact that somebody may be 60, 70, the person may still be strong and be work, that is it. But because we have adopted the UN Convention of 60 years being our cutoff age in terms of work. When you talk of an older person in Ghana, we are talking about somebody who is 60 years and above. Okay. Now, so as before you get to these 60 years, there are certain things that will start happening to you as a human being. And in the lives of the women, we have what we call menopause. Okay. Menopause will set in. Sometimes it's your waist, sometimes it's your leg. There are several things that come. Some of the characteristics of menopause has to do with hot flashes and people talking too much, as you said. Some, the person, cries because the person does not even know what is happening. Okay. And if you are not fortunate and then you'll be talking too much, then people think that, you are entering into the camp of witches. Okay. Sometimes also, because as you grow, you acquire wisdom. Sometimes you can tell what is about to happen. That is it. And so when you tell your younger person, oh, stop what you are doing, maybe if you don't stop, this and this can happen, and it happens, then you are branded a witch. In the lives of the males, they have what we call andropause. Their andropause does not prolong like that of the women. Okay. Women can go through 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, even sometimes 10. Some of them are not even able to cope and they die alongside. The men, they have a short span and sometimes they don't even realize it. And so people don't even talk much about andropause. All we talk about is menopause, but they also go through. And these are even more painful because they don't even see it. Okay. For a woman, you can have about 3 or 4 signs that tells you that you are entering. Now, let me digress a bit. These days, because girls start menstruating early, signs of menopause also start very early. Okay. And so you may not be 50, you may not be 40, but you may be going through those signs. Okay. It's at the end of your menstruation pattern, that is where you know that now my menstrual flow is no more and therefore I've entered into menopause. Some of them also enter into artificial menopause early because you might have gone through surgery, maybe your womb has been taken, so you don't menstruate again. But then when that happens, you can also experience the signs more than earlier than somebody who has the womb. So all these things come with its own problems. And when the person does not understand what is happening in his or her body and is going through challenges and is behaving really, then we tend to brand them as witches. With the male, some of them will leave home without any provocation. Okay. Sometimes they will have their glasses on, they have forgotten. They are not demented. Okay. They are going through andropause. Their glasses are on, they have forgotten. They have their yes, the socks is on and has forgotten. And please bring me my socks. Meanwhile, he's wearing the socks. Yes. And so sometimes when you are with them and you study them, then you have a better understanding of what is going on, and then you can help them. Because I always use my dad as an example. Every day, one thing that he says today, you go there in 30 minutes, you start saying the same thing. So these are all signs that when you see, you know that this person has entered into this, and you have to have patience for that person. So that is the process. So as caregivers, the children of course become the caregivers, or whoever is living with this older person. When you see such things, then you have to try and help. Okay, so Akosua, is it like, when we are growing up, they have patience for us when we are crawling? Sometimes we make certain sounds and communications they don't understand. Must we also use the same approach for them? That is it. That is where pedagogy comes in here. Okay. Because when we were giving birth to, no matter what you do, your parents are there to help, to guide. Now, the aging process is said that if you don't take, I have a caption I show. It was on social media. Life, the starts and the end are similar. Yes. Take advantage of the time in between them. So the time in between when you are born and when you are going to die is very crucial, especially when it comes to the older person. Okay. So in the beginning, you see this older baby in a wheelchair. At the end of life, the person could be in the wheelchair. So the advantage is in the middle, where you have to take your lifestyle plays a role, very big role. The way you eat, the way you go about your things plays a role for you to either get to that end or gone too soon. And so these are the things. And therefore, when that thing happened to the older persons, we need to have the patience like they had. For us. Yes. when we were babies, they were feeding us, they were. So if an older person or your mom or dad gets to that point where maybe because of our lifestyle, some of them can get sick and, excuse me to say, they become a bit, senile. You need to help the person. There's no other older person that gets into that situation.
Okay.
But if you are not fortunate and your older person gets to that situation, then you need to have a lot of patience, accommodate, especially 65 plus, the person can be demented. So if the person is demented, you need to take care because he was taking care of you. But that is where the problem is. Now, in Ghana and Africa, women are the sole caregivers. Today, every woman is going to school. Every child is a school-going child. So who takes care of our older persons if they are not in the position to take care of themselves? That becomes a problem. People travel, leave their older person thinking that they can pay money for others to take care. But you paying the money, do you do supervision as to whether the proper care is being given? So when you go to the Western country, they have the institutions and everything.
But not to cut you short, as you are talking, you take my mind to some ideologies coming up. For example, don't you think that if a parent is able to take care of the kids, give the person care, attention, support from the beginning, which goes beyond food. For example, in an African setting or Ghanaian setting, parents feel like when they're able to give you money to go to school, put food on the table, it is care. And so your child goes through that process. Don't you think when you also go to that stage, you also feel like when I give you money, pay your hospital bills, you should be able to survive without that emotional care and everything? Is there any correlation?
Okay, see, money is not everything. The emotional attachment is more than the money. You can give, as you sit here, maybe your parents are somewhere, you can give money, but can your mother talk to the money?
No.
Can the money walk and go and do things for your mother? No. So your money can pay for a caregiver to take care of your mother.
Okay.
But your presence is crucial if you are available. And so sometimes even technology has made things easier. You can easily pick a phone, call, and then, oh, mom, how are you? That kind of thing. But there are some that will not even get to know or hear about their their children, absentee children. And mind you, you made a point. The fact that your parents took care of you these days, like we used to have that, these days it's not so. When you share your child for it to grow its teeth, it's not automatic that he's going to take care of you to also lose your teeth. So it behoves on you, the older person. Now for me, I tell people that it behoves on us to take care of our own old age. We need to plan. And Professor Apt one day said in a casual conversation with her, she told me, Akosua, preach and let people know that old age is young people's problem. Now old age is young people's problem because those who are there now, they're already there. Whatever situation they are in, they are in. What about you? You are now coming. You know that you have gotten the message. What do you do to make sure your old age is better than your father or your mother?
Okay.
Now, in our part of the world, policies are not in place to cater for the older persons. Even if you look at NHIA, you look at retirement policies, they are all not adequate.
The LEAP system.
They are not adequate. And they are not 100% for older persons like we have in the US and UK. So what will you do as an individual to secure your own old age if you want to live above 60, 70, 80, 90, 100? Now the insurance that we used to have, that our children are there, now the children grow up, they don't even have work to do. So if I want to take care of my mom and I need to take her to the hospital, I don't have the money. Is it going to kill me? So that thing is waning. So it behoves on us, the youth now, to make sure that no matter how small, how little it might be, to prepare for our own old age before we go on pension. Sometimes we have something we call disengagement, where when you disengage from active service, you have to re-engage in something. Women find it easier to do, but men, it becomes very difficult for some people. And so they are relegated to the background, they isolate themselves, and sometimes they die early. And that is the more reason why sometimes people think that the men die early and it is their wives that are killing them. Why don't kill anybody? Okay, it depends on you, your lifestyle in the middle of you being a child and you being an adult. So when you take very good care of the middle, then your end will be sweet. That's why sometimes when you read obituaries, what do you see? Gone too soon, what a shock. If you want to be celebrated, transition, celebration of life, then you need to take care. And here, PedaL comes in here. What do? You need to socialize. Okay. Your relationship with others should be cordial. You have to have network of relationships. If you are an older person or an individual, before you even get there, make sure you have friends with 3 categories of people. Those ones that are your subordinates, that even when you retire, you can still go to the office and you have people receiving you. Okay. Your cohorts, if one person is 70, you are also the same 70. So if the person is not able to move to visit you, it means that you cannot also go every day to visit. And then those ahead of you. Now those ahead of you, those who are older than you, are going to educate, to give you wisdom, experience. They will tell you their life story, they will guide you as to where to go. Your cohorts are your cohorts, so you think together, you play together, and then you can fraternize. And the ones that are behind, that you are always shouting at, that you don't even greet because you are the boss, you are the chief executive, they are the ones that will be there for you in future. Sure. What do we see today? Those days, our parents would give birth to 10, 15. Today, now, we don't do it. It's where 2 or 3 are gathered. I call them where 2 or 3 are gathered families. Husband, wife, and a child. Sometimes even they will tell you, I don't want to marry, but I want to have a child. So he has 1 or 2 children, that is it. So when all these children leave home, whom are you going to speak to? Emptiness syndrome. That is it. So now we even become isolated before our old age. Okay, so these are some of the things that we have to look at. For the policies that we are talking about, if government is able to pass, for example, this aging bill that has been there for years and there hasn't been it hasn't been passed into law, if this policy is passed and implementation is key and we make sure that we implement and work with it, then maybe we can meet them halfway. But now as I speak, most older persons are really, in a devastating, situation. Some of them are making it big time. Those who planned, they are. Sometimes we go to the field and you ask somebody who is 56 years, 55 years, have you planned for retirement? You ask you, what is retirement? Yes, and what is the money? Nothing to write home about. 1 year, 2 years is finished. Some of them, when they take it, they even go marry more. So these are some of the things that we are talking about. We should be able to take up other roles outside what we've been, familiar with, so that at the end of the day, when you retire, you don't become lonely. Great. So, Akosua, before we let you go, let's find out the strategies for young people or everyone to be able to take care of the older, because when I visit my auntie, she even tells you things that they are not real, and sometimes we all make fun of her and then we go. But speaking to you, we feel like we are doing her much more of a disservice and providing that support. When we see some of these signs, what must we do as younger people or as caregivers? Thank you very much. As a caregiver, there are several things you can see that can tell you that this older person is either demented or perhaps some of them, they only need somebody to talk to. As I use my father as an example, when we were growing up, you couldn't even sit close to have a conversation with them. And that is one thing that we all tell it to his face. If you don't bring your children close to you when they are young, there's no way you can get them when they grow up. Exactly my point. So then you need to, one of the strategies for you to enjoy your own age is all the time be a communal father or mom, where your children can easily come to you. When they come to you, they grow up, you also can go to them. Now, when they come to you, even in your own old age, for me, what the children are not doing right is when they are telling you the Kwekwanansi stories or telling you, this thing is not real, it's not. But listen, when you listen to them, they feel at home. We tend to we tend to shout at them, and we make them seem they are not useful to us, they are not wanted. So some of them make some comments, and then me share because you know children are most of the times close to their mothers. So when the fathers are not experiencing that, then they think that is the women. But there are some fathers that can pose as both fathers and mothers who bring their children very close to them and listen to them and all that. So it depends on the time in between that I said. How you bring your children close to you. Are you the father that is running 4 o'clock to work and come at 12 midnight when your children are asleep? When you do that, a time may come that you want them close to listen to you. Nobody comes to listen.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Akosua Agyemang from the University of Ghana. We have been sitting with Dr. Akosua Agyemang from the University of Ghana, and she has taken us through key steps that we must adopt in taking care of the older people and how PedaL is relevant to her work. Thank you for watching. My name has always been Kwesi Sam.